WorldDenver talks today with Her Excellency Olive Wonekha, Ambassador of Uganda. Welcome, Madam Ambassador.
Thank you very much, Wonekha, for having me here tonight. And I am happy to be part of your efforts to do work on the continent and specifically in Uganda.
We wanted to take this opportunity to talk to you about some of the things that are going on in Uganda, and more specifically, around agriculture. We know that agriculture is playing a very big role right now in economic development. Can you just give us an idea of the scope of that?
Uganda is an agricultural country where you have 66% of our workforce engaged in agriculture. And of that 66%, over 70% is provided by women. And I know that in your efforts, you want to somehow zero down to the women in the agricultural sector. So this is exciting for me because at home, especially for women, there are a lot of challenges. Even as the country, has got the budgeting for agriculture, it has got a whole ministry of agriculture, it has got agriculture in its development processes. Still, there are challenges there. And most of those challenges are most experienced negatively by the women. They have to really work so hard to produce for the country. The fact that the country is basically agricultural, you have most of the people engaging in small holder farms. We don't have many plantations, and where we have them, you have them in crops like sugarcane and tea. And yet, most of the coffee, which is our main export income earner, is done by smallholders. And within the smallholders is the women who are providing this labor. So agriculture is a big thing for us. It's the wish of government to provide up to 10% of its budget to agriculture. But as it is, we are still at around 3%. The hope, or the solace is that, okay, agriculture is not getting 10%, but this is agriculture in terms of inputs, seed, pesticides, and so on. But then when you find that roads are being attended to, markets are being built, and those related issues, then we take comfort there. Like agriculture is not yet at 10%, but, attention is being paid. Yeah.
Recently, a bill was signed for the East African community cooperatives to have regional engagement.
The cooperative, they are called primary cooperative societies. They come together and they form unions. Then unions do the marketing of the commodities. So the fact that you have an East African bill is exciting, because then you can see that there's that regional effort, harmonization of mechanisms to take advantage of the region itself, even as a market within, internal market, or together addressing the external market. It's exciting. And as for the women, of course, I told you that in Uganda, the agriculture, and I'm sure it goes for many African countries, it's the women who are providing about 70% of the labor force in agriculture. So It's a big deal.
What do you see the role of that Uganda plays in the emerging in the African Union?
As a country, we are a member of regional economic groupings. We are a member of, and also peace groupings. We are a member of the East African Community, that is Burundi, Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, and Rwanda. We are a member of the International Conference on Great Lakes Region that basically addresses peace and security issues in the Great Lakes region. We are a member of the IGAD, this is Intergovernmental Authority on Development, and we are, for example, we participate in AMISOM. AMISOM is an African effort in Somalia to counter Al-Shabaab and Al-Qaeda terrorism. And so like that, we are very active within the African Union. What's going on in Central Africa, we are part of the efforts that are there. We've, this Lord's Resistance Army terrorist group, eventually they ended up in Central Africa. And together with the American government support, we've been able to pursue Konyi, who is the leader, although he hasn't been captured yet. He still remains elusive, but efforts are on. So Uganda, as part of the African Union, we are an active part of, of that community.
What can the African Union do to help Uganda reach its goals?
For us, gender issues are very serious, ingrained in our constitution, in our legislative frameworks, in our policies. So that theme alone is like, Uganda, what are you doing? Okay, you have the legislation, you have the policies and all that, but you are part of the African Union. So be the example to show maybe even the others, like it's truly year of the women. Because in Uganda, first of all, there is provision in our constitution for gender equality, gender equity. For us, it's a question of fighting, those social norms, the cultures, to ensure that we get equal opportunity as women. Otherwise, the legislation provides for, the policies provide for. So as part of the African Union, having even that theme alone supports what we are doing at home. At some point in the 1980s, early 90s, the prevalence of HIV/AIDS in Uganda was at 30% of the population. But we're able, with the support of governments like the US, in a big way, we've been able to bring down that prevalence to 6%. Isn't that great?
That's amazing.
It's amazing. Mm-hmm. And we're able to do that, first of all, with this big support from here. You had the presidential PEPFAR program, and we have got other health projects and programs where we have this big partnership. There is the Global Health Security Agenda, there's such a thing. And you have got organizations here like Center for Disease Control. Mm-hmm. They're there in Uganda. For Global Health Security Agenda, we are one of the few partners from the African continent, together with the US. So HIV is a big story for us. And we managed to do that partly because of leadership. Mm-hmm. President Museveni came out openly, clearly, and engaged in the conversation in all those processes to talk about HIV/AIDS. Then the global partnership in terms of resources, money, technical assistance, sensitization, using every forum possible. So at home now, we moved from stigmatization for whoever was diagnosed with HIV to now the disease being accepted like malaria, like TB, like any other disease. So this stigmatization is not so bad. I think all that has helped us deal with it. Yeah, and wish we could eliminate it altogether.
Thank you, Madam Ambassador, for being here. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me, and I wish you the very best with your efforts in Africa Development Promise.